to talk a little bit about what's been going on, how this has been impacting our businesses with the coronavirus, as I've kind of come to call it, the coronavirus economy that we're all living in right now, and the impact that this is having on our businesses and things that we have going on. And as a company or as a business that's either currently in the process of franchising to get into the franchise business, looking to get into the franchise business, or you already are in the franchise business. Many of our clients are at that emerging franchise level where you've got maybe 1, 2, 5, 10, 25 franchises out there. And this does make an impact. Your company-owned units and locations that you're running all in some way, shape, or form are impacted by this. Case in point, working at my home office in my basement. So I think a lot of us are doing that. So we have a little presentation that we can go through, a little PowerPoint overview that I'll share as part of this, just to kind of keep us as a guide, because I can talk for quite some time, and I would like to be mindful to people's time here. We have so just to kind of give a quick overview, we're going to go through some impacts that we've seen on franchising, some ideas for franchisors to help franchisees, and not just franchisors to help franchisees, but also for you in your own existing business. What are you doing for your own current business right now? How are you managing this? For many of our clients that have one of something, 2, 3, 5, even if you have a handful of franchisees, this is going to impact your primary revenue generator. So talk through some things that we can discuss and review. Talk through this idea that, with the unemployment numbers coming out, I believe yesterday was the official announcement that just almost 3.3 million unemployment claims were filed in the past week, which is just historic. It's never happened. It really is significant. But from a franchise standpoint, that means 3 million potential candidates have now entered into the franchise candidate pipeline. And some things moving forward. We'll open for some Q&A, and then we'll go ahead and close out. The goal for this is to try and keep this session somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes as we're going through this. So let's just talk through some of these high-level ideas, and this is kind of a talking point for us as well. And I do want to see, are people able to see my screen here? I'll just see if there's a chat box, if everyone's doing okay with that. Want to make sure that you can see this. Here we go. We got a chat. Someone's helping me out here. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So in terms of our business, number one, first and foremost, that I put up here is cash flow. Cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, right? That's the number one most important thing for any small business, period. And it's impacting all of us in some way, shape, or form, directly for many and indirectly for others. And where we're seeing some direct negative impacts, depending on your state, depending on your city, different measures are being put in place by different governors, different mayors, different precautions that are being taken. But as a whole, there's just a general quarantine in place. And so if you're in the food service, if you're in retail, hospitality, areas that get a lot of attention right now are the food service, hospitality, lodging, retail, health and fitness businesses that are getting a lot of attention on a national basis from media and newspapers and so on. But things that I'm hearing from our clients, just to give you an idea, are after school programs for kids, kids related activities and businesses. Our 3 kids we have 3 kids in grade school, and they are all home. And so now the Dufour household here has become, the Dufour Academy as well in training the kids. And fortunately, Jen has been great at helping keep curriculum going for the kiddos and keeping them rolling here. But it is impacting our business and our personal lives. Businesses that we've seen some positive impacts, just to kind of give you an idea that it's not all gloom and doom. And that's one of the things I wanted to share here, is that this is not an entirely gloom and doom kind of a program. So we're seeing positive impacts for first responders and emergency services, grocery, pharmacies, in the cleaning and sanitizing businesses. While some customers are scared or shutting down, other retail businesses, this is a prime time for them to be doing deep cleaning and sanitizing and putting that forward. And so just to toss that out there to some of our retail clients or restaurant clients or folks that are in those businesses, now might be that time for you to consider a sanitization and use that to be able to broadcast that to your clients and customers as they start returning and going through that. So let's talk through a couple things here on this stimulus package that is, again, another historic thing, just a giant amount of cash getting pumped into the economy, and that will become available to support small businesses. The Senate passed it. It's at the House now, and as soon as the House gets this passed, the president, from my understanding, has said he will sign right away. So this is going to be a very quick and swift implementation here. So if you have not answered these questions that I put up here on what does this mean, and really what does this mean for your business, and how will this impact your business, you need to be thinking about these questions and having an answer for these. So if you have not started thinking about these, please take a minute, jot these down, and really start planning on how this will impact your business if it's something you want to take advantage of. I will be forwarding out to all of you. We have a resource, a trusted resource that has a stimulus package funding resource available. So as a franchisor, this is something you can be sharing with your franchisees, and for you, for your own company-owned locations and territories that you're running. This is another resource as well to have access to that cash and to that capital. So as a follow-up to this, I'll be sharing several resources that I've been accumulating and that we as a company have been accumulating over the last several 5 to 10 days of tuning into webinars and other. The International Franchise Association has had lots of education. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce we've been tuning into, as well as other things to try to keep informed and gather as much information as we can to share with you.
Hey, Tom, excuse me, Tom?
Yeah.
Tom, it's Rick Alberti. How are you?
Hey, doing fine.
Tom, we're trying to get on the call via phone from what the invitation that you sent, but it doesn't work. Is there another phone number that we can call?
Yeah, there should be another phone number there that you can
Sorry to stop you there, man. We called. Let me tell you what we called. 304-595-0066.
Yeah, I would. Is there any way you can dial in through? Any way you can dial in through your computer or through an audio in that regard? Because when you dial in, you got to make sure you use your ID.
Right. The ID that they gave us was a PIN of 425-108-619.
608-981-919 is the code there.
I'm sorry, what is it?
608-981-919.
Okay, 608-981.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the last three?
919.
We'll call right now. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Sorry to bother you in there.
Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, so thank you for your patience with that. So let's go ahead and jump back into this here. So let's talk through some ways and how we can help on helping you and your franchisees. And so this is for your direct customers, for your franchisees. What can you be doing right now to make this, to make an immediate impact on this? So number one, first and foremost, share an empathy and give confidence. And I put that first, and in making sure that everyone in this situation, this is a very unusual situation, and something that for most of us, we've never lived through anything like this, where there's a pandemic and people are scared and nervous, and everyone's going to react to this situation differently. So trying to empathize during this situation, I can share many of our clients and entrepreneurs I've spoken with. You know, fear is not something necessarily that they're worried about. Fear is not the emotion. It's really frustration and disappointment with what's been going on. And the fear or concern is really, it's driven from the fear and concern that most of our clients that I've been speaking with have been fear of just getting through the next 60 to 90 days of this uncertainty here. And with businesses being shut down and so on, those that are having that negative cash flow. So trying to have empathy during this time is very important. And number two, giving your staff and your franchisees and their staff confidence that there is a plan and that there is something going on here. So here's how we can do all of these things, how we can share empathy and give confidence. Number one, we want to make sure that we are increasing communication. A case in point why we are doing this session, and there will be more sessions like this and more communication coming out with ideas, suggestions, tips, and so on. And you may or may not use it, but something might spark an idea for you. So we want to make sure that we're going through this with you, and that, so make sure that you are sending regular updates to your team, to your franchisees. Communicate about what's happening. They're nervous, they're scared, they're looking to you as their leader, as their leadership team to make this happen. So make sure that that communication is going on. And sometimes it may be related to what's going on with the coronavirus and COVID-19. It may be related to new policy that's getting passed and news that's happening. And it might just be, hey, you know, gray skies are going to clear up, you know, put on a happy face here. You know, we're going to get through this. This too shall pass. And so remind your team, keep safe, listen to your state, local, federal recommendations. For those of you that require some hand-holding or want to continue to provide training to your franchisees, one thing that's really, really great right now to consider is virtual training. One thing that we have recently launched is our FranLeadership program here. And our FranLeadership program is a cloud-based virtual training platform for all of our clients that are currently active. That is something that's available to you right now, that's available and accessible, that you would have the ability to do. In any event, I'll show you really quickly. If you go to franleadership.com, and this is not meant to be a big sales pitch, but for those active clients, this is something for you to know about, that this is a tool that currently exists for you. If your project's finished, or you're not, or the program is currently, you know, wrapped up, it is something that becomes available to you, or I should say, is available to you. Let me go into this and pull this up for you here. it is available to you, and we're giving a discount to all of our current or previous clients. It's $99 a month is the discount. It's normally $495 a month. We're giving a discount, no onboarding fee. It's just $99 a month to have a tool to be able to train your franchisees. And we'll do free onboarding. We'll get you uploaded so that you can add videos, add training to be able to support your franchise system or your employees during this time period. So, one other benefit we're offering is anybody who signs up, your price will never, ever increase. It will never go up. So that's some food for thought for you as well as you start considering that here. I need to, unfortunately here, let me pull this up. The PowerPoint just decided to shut down on us here. So I'm going to reboot that as we start talking through some virtual training. So whether you're working through a system like FranLeadership, or you're just posting videos, on YouTube, whatever that might be, think about what you can be doing now. What can you be doing to produce some continued support and continued training for your franchisees? So I know it's hard to be thinking about at this moment with everything else going on, but I would strongly encourage you to be evaluating and looking at your options for what you can do. A few other ideas for you to take a look at in helping support your franchisees is helping them to manage their cash flow. And so let me see here. And so when you're helping them in managing their cash flow, this is giving them some ideas on how to cut expenses, how to weather the storm, and how to find new ways to increase revenue into those businesses. So some examples of what you can be doing. And if you're not doing this, I would recommend if you're in a retail business or some other kind of business that's impacted immediately right now with your staff and wondering what's going on for cash flow, don't wait for layoffs. Do not wait for layoffs. If you have your staff, no one likes letting go of your great employees and people that have been with you for a long time, but don't wait. Do it now. Do it right now. Don't wait. Right now is a time when you'll actually be helping them the most. Don't try to be a hero and keep your business cash flowing and burning up your reserves that you're using to pay rent, utilities, and other critical expenses to keep going, especially if your business is slowed down. Do the layoff now. The stimulus package, the unemployment benefits, and things that are going to be available to your staff are at the peak right now in terms of what's available for them and what will be available, and let them know that this is something that you intend to be short term. My opinion is I do think that this is going to be a relatively short term situation, 30 to maybe 90 days. There will be definitely ripple effects that are going to come from it, certainly. But communicate that to them and make those decisions now. Don't wait. I've seen too often in the Great Recession, a lot of times, and I saw clients and companies I was working with back then waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. Well, the unemployment is there to support these efforts, and it will actually help give your staff some peace of mind. And again, it's a layoff, not a termination. These are good people you don't want to lose, but use that option that's there. A second thing to go over with your franchisees, have them go through credit card, bank card statements, debit card statements, and have them review all of those recurring transactions that are happening every month. It's amazing how $20 here, $99 there, $1,000 here starts to add up in a hurry. And so see if there are little things that they can cut out to get them going. On your franchise network, offer discounted royalties right now, or delayed or discontinue royalties for the next 2 months or 3 months or 4 months to help give some indication that you're working with them. It may be a hard thing to do as the franchisor, that you don't want to cut your royalty off completely. Maybe you cut it in half, or to show them that, hey, we're working with you. We're trying to help help you through that. Delay, it's an incomplete thought on there, but delay any other unnecessary franchising expenses. So if there's anything that you're currently selling to your franchisees that you could delay for the next, for the next 3 months or 4 months, if you're selling extra products or services or anything that you're selling that could be delayed or discounted temporarily, consider doing that to help your franchisees through this time period. I know they're nervous and uncertain there. These are the fun things that I get excited about. The ways to help your franchisees innovate. Now is the time to innovate, and this is when your entrepreneurial mind starts the engine starts to fire and flicker a little bit more for you. So as you're going through that, this is the time for you to be thinking about creating new products, new services, new ideas, new things to get you going. So keep that in mind. This is the time. If you have a retail business, can you offer what you're doing via delivery? Can you drop things off? Can you create a new marketing campaign that creates a new widget or a wonder service that's relevant to what's going on? If you're in the cleaning business, maybe you can offer some a service related to the coronavirus crisis that has people worried and concerned, to clean, disinfect, and sanitize properties and things like that. And the other thing is, use the resources you already have. Use the resources you already have to come up with new things and old things that you just maybe haven't used a whole lot. Things like email lists, delivery, essential services to help, other things that you have going on that you don't know about. Whenever I think about the resources that you're currently using right now, it always reminds me of that movie, what was it called? Apollo 13. If you saw that movie in Apollo 13, when there was they're in the spaceship in outer space and something explodes and they've got to create, I think it's a new air filter or something. But they're in a spaceship. They can't get anything else. There's no way to get any resources. So ground control, it has to figure out some new contraption to filter the air to keep them alive with what they have on that spaceship. So I want you to think about what's in your spaceship right now. What are some things that you're doing that you need to look at in a different way? That you need to change your paradigm, have a paradigm shift on your thinking to do that. This could be just a 30-minute or a 60-minute exercise that you and some key staff go through together, or that you just brainstorm on your own in going through this. So keep these things in mind. Let's transition here now into franchise sales. So for our franchisors on here that are actively selling franchises, what do we see happening? So as of today, from our standpoint with current clients we're actively working and sales accounts we're managing, we have not seen a drop in lead flow. We did see a small dip the week of March 9th, but other than, it was a very small dip. Other than that, lead flow has been consistent. It has been steady, and that's been consistent with brands that we're actively working with and managing, as well as what the feedback I've been getting from other clients we've been talking to. So the good news from a franchise sales perspective is people are still actively looking. We have clients that are still selling franchises right now. We have a client that we spoke with last night that has a 3-unit sale that's in the process right now. That the franchisee is still proceeding and moving forward. We believe that this recovery will be better than before due to better than the recession from 2008 and 2009 that happened. just because the stimulus and Federal Reserve have acted much more quickly to shore up the financial markets and the availability to credit. So I do not think we're going to have that credit crunch that we saw from the Great Recession from what, 10, 12 years ago now. The Federal Reserve has acted very swiftly, much faster than what Congress has been doing to make sure that credit stays available and accessible. So that's going to be an important thing for you to keep in mind as you're going through it. Here's some data that I thought was interesting. So this is from franchiseinsights.com. It's a really, really great resource for you to take a look at. And this was just published yesterday, literally yesterday. And I think some really telling signs for you to think about in terms of franchise sales for you. And as you're going through this, don't be gun shy in thinking about franchise sales right now. This was literally from yesterday. It was updated. And the question was, do you agree that now is a good time to start a business? And these were sent out. This was from the Small Business Startup Sentiment Index. As you can see, over 16% strongly agree, over 38% agree, and 25% neither agree nor disagree. So you add all those numbers together, that indicates 80% of the respondents think that now is a good time to buy, or are neutral, which means they are not thinking it's a bad time to buy. So 80% of the people don't have bad time to buy on their mind, if that's a double negative there. Sorry, confusing myself almost. So keep that in mind. So people are thinking about this. And here's another one that came out. So how does the emergence of the COVID-19 affect your interest in business ownership? So here's some data that reflects on that. So the responses is a great clip. This again is from Franchise Insights from that same report. So how do you think it's going to affect? Well, no impact. This is an issue that will be resolved before I start my business, is 20%. This darker green color boosts my interest in controlling my own destiny through business ownership. Yellow is, it says, makes me favor businesses that would be resistant of this kind of thing. So this yellow, 15%, if you have what we call a recession-resistant type of a business, there are 15% of folks are looking for you. So as you start to think about this and look at it, these are some pretty large numbers that get added into this, that people are not as worried about this as you might suspect in terms of opening or starting a business, which tends to go with the idea that when you're thinking about business ownership, you have to have some comfort level with risk, as we all do as a risk taker in this space. So keep that in mind as you're going through this process. Keep in mind that the buyers are there, and we do have this surge of unemployment claims. These 3 million plus folks that are out there. Now, hopefully, things get turned back on in the economy over the next few weeks. People are back to work. Things are going again, but there's definitely going to be some fallout, and people will turn to franchise sales. And with the stimulus package, the Federal Reserve, I should say, helping shore up the financial markets and keeping access to cash available, it will help ensure that franchising going forward and franchise sales going forward will remain and be available for these future franchisees coming into the situation. So with that being said, I would like to open things up for some conversation here. I'd like to, I'm going to go ahead and unmute this here. Where's my unmute? Here's my participant list. And so if there are any questions, I didn't see any in the chat box. Anyone have any questions, I'll go ahead and go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll be able to hear your question there. Any questions?
Tom, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Randy.
Yeah.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Randy here.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Randy. Hey, Randy.
Yeah, I'm joining in from California, and for other franchisors and consultants like you, it's still best to educate, just an input also and sharing, just to best educate the people now who franchise offerings that we're giving them. So they will have more free time today, this moment, amidst all of this crisis, to be able to educate themselves which franchise they would really fit their own qualification and their interest. So it's not just a stop and pause for now. So people can study more, because it takes about 6 to 10 weeks to be able to make a decision. So it's still best to listen to you and other franchisor to be able to see what their offerings and what kind of concepts and system they have to offer to those, especially those that got unemployed for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, Randy, thank you. That's a great point that I forgot to bring up, that with people hanging out at home, and if they're not working, they don't have a whole lot to do. So,
Right.
you know, even with our own internet service here, internet has been inconsistent because bandwidth is being stretched right now. And people are searching, they're researching, they've got their phone in their hand or their laptop up, and they're looking things up, and they're taking a look at this. So, you know, just some food for thought. That's a great point, Randy. People are investigating, they are looking, they are going through this, and so posting comments on your franchise, on your blogs, on your websites, or even just sending out a message to your customers or prospective franchisee customer base about what's happening or things that you're doing or unique things. Are great point there. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Additional questions from, or comments or ideas or thoughts to share with the team?
Hey, Tom, this is Paul from New York. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
What I'm doing, as you know, is I'm very early stage in my with our franchising with you, and what I'm doing at this point in time is I'm doing a lot of legwork that normally I don't have the time to do. I have some time, and I'm spending a lot of it doing the stuff that I need to do to get our business up and going. As soon as this thing kind of gets a little bit better, we're not stopping, but we're doing a lot of all the the preparation needed to get our franchise off the ground. So I'm finding the time useful, that it gives me time to do things that I normally can't do.
Yep. Yeah, great point, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, so this is a great time to, if you're in the midst of the franchise project with us, for our company as a whole, we've been set up and built and basically run as a virtual company. This has had little to no impact on our company in terms of work. We have a small office. Most of our staff work from a home office. So it's kind of business as usual for us. So if you're in the midst of your project with us in any way, shape, or form, now's a great time. We have capacity. Use this to get questionnaires completed or review drafts, send feedback, schedule phone calls or appointments, and so on. And we'll be able to keep the project moving. And if you're not, this is a great time, Paul. It's a great point to use this time right now in doing some spring cleaning in your own business, reviewing things. I mean, literally physically cleaning, maybe cleaning up your home office or a desk or something. But in addition to in addition to also being able to what's the phrase I'm thinking about here? In addition to cleaning up things, but also doing those projects or tasks that you've had on your to-do list for a while, And if you schedule yourself, and by the way, I recommend you schedule an appointment for yourself to do this for an hour or 90 minutes or 30 minutes to do these tasks that have just been lingering. They've maybe been on your to-do list for the last 6 months or year, some of us a couple of years that you know you want to get done. So use that now. Use this as an opportunity to do that now. Other questions? I'll go ahead and unmute everyone again. Other questions or comments here?
Yes, hi, I'm Jamila from New York.
Yes.
Hi, so
Hi.
we are in the infant stages of considering our small business to become a franchise. And so I'm just curious as to know is there any knowledge around different states being backed up with being able to process franchise requests? Are their offices down, and so right now is not a good time, or are they pretty much satellite up and ready? And if we submit an application to franchise, that they will be able to give us a good turnaround time?
Sure, great question. Thank you for sharing. I'm trying to find that out. We do not have a clear answer yet on these state agencies for approving state registrations, and we're in the thick of renewal season right now for franchising. I mean, by April 30th is the deadline for the vast majority of franchise companies to have their renewals submitted for the state registration process. I don't have a clear answer on it. It's an assumption. No one likes when you assume, but I know many of these governmental state agencies, they're shut down, or it's very, very limited. So I'd have to imagine they're going to be delayed. I just can't imagine anything else. And unfortunately, New York has the reputation for, just in general, good, whether times are normal or not, New York just has the longest registration and application cycle to begin with. It just takes a long time. And, New York is, obviously, kind of being called now the epicenter of the situation, but there are a lot of issues going on in the state and in New York City in particular. So, a lot of their resources are being diverted appropriately so to handle the crisis here.
But that was a bit of my assumption, which was playing into how do I move forward. These are my considerations of when and how do I move forward with attorneys, right? Because they do billable hours, and knowing that it will be the stop and go, especially during this time. My thoughts now is to hold off until it becomes more clear that they could actually submit a registration request, and that I wouldn't be forced to have to pay for hours, the stop and go of a system that's already probably backed up or paused for now. And so I was trying to get a clearer understanding of, how I should probably move forward.
Yeah, my general recommendation is to keep moving forward. You need, because almost all of these state registrations, almost all of these state registrations, how they operate is they take the calls or the submissions in the order in which it's received. So if you delay getting in, you're just going to keep delaying getting in. And so my recommendation would be to keep moving forward. I don't know which attorney you're working with, and what their fee structure is, but I'd be happy to talk with you offline to see if we may be able to find a solution to keep this more at a fixed price. I can tell you most of the attorneys that we refer out tend to work on fixed or flat fees that they pre-negotiate with you. So I'd be happy to talk with you offline on how to try and minimize those hourly bills that are coming through. We don't, and help mitigate some of that. So, but thank you for sharing there, and be happy to speak with you afterwards as well.
Tom?
Yes.
Randy?
Yeah. Hey, Randy.
Hey, Tom, yes. We've been a franchisor since 2015. And I'd like to thank you for the benefit of everybody. because Tom DeFore was the one responsible for us being a franchisor from that period, and you and Chris Connor and Devin, we'd like to thank you for that. But my question is, during the 2008, we have no experience with or any information how the franchise saw how the franchising industry were able to face all the challenges amidst that really difficult economic times. So would you have any information and statistics on that for the benefit of everybody?
Randy, could you ask that again? The audio on my end cut out there just a minute.
Yes. 2008 was a recession, but we were not a franchisor then. So you might have information or statistics on how the franchising industry were able to bounce back amidst those difficult economic times for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, sure. So the big thing for franchising during the recession, the last recession, was that the availability or access to cash was very, very hard to come by because the real estate industry crashed so hard, and real estate diminished in value so greatly and significantly that it definitely made an impact on borrowing, the ability to borrow and leverage assets, not to mention the tightening of standards because standards had become, unfortunately, very loose with the whole mortgage crisis that had gone on and the chain reaction that caused. So in terms of franchise sales, generally speaking, we see that franchise sales as unemployment goes up, we tend to see franchise sales tend to go up because there are more buyers in the market. And during the last recession, franchise sales stayed relatively flat. So it was pretty, it just stayed relatively flat. Any major, I don't know if that helped. I don't have the statistics at hand, Randy, to share with you, but I'll make a note to give you, to find that information and share that with everyone.
Okay.
Other questions, thoughts, ideas, suggestions for while we're all on the line here? And what I will be doing, this is, like I said, this will be the first of several coming through. If you or your team did not see this, we have been recording this, so we'll post a link to this as well and share this around. And be able to share this with the team. But you know, the idea right now, I think, as a whole, is you know, help your franchisees and your own company-owned units survive. Not only survive, you got to survive through this. You know, look at your expenses, plan out your budgets for a reforecast where you think you're going here. And what you think the next 30, 60, 90 days will look like. And then start to look to or look to innovate. How are you innovating and using this as an opportunity? So let's make sure that we're using this as an opportunity for you to innovate, differentiate, and last through this and come out thriving on the other end of this as an engine. So any other thoughts, questions? I don't think I see anything new posted here in the comments. Any other last comments, questions, concerns before we wrap up here? Okay. Well, I thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you have a great weekend. If I know for me, I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. Today is Friday. And we look forward to the next communication coming out here. Be on the lookout for some emails with some links and downloads. And I'll be sharing also with you that link for access to the stimulus cash that's coming out for businesses. with some great resources for that as well if you want to investigate that for your business or for your franchisees and have a tool available for them. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and have a great rest of the day.